What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, let's talk about this situation with the quote-unquote saving of Star Wars, because I found some of the conversations and some of the videos that I watched today absolutely hilarious. I've been watching videos and reading articles and all of this stuff talking about, oh, Ahsoka didn't save Star Wars, or some people saying, oh, Ahsoka saved Star Wars. And I'm like, look, Ahsoka will never, ever save Star Wars, all right? Ahsoka couldn't save Star Wars, and here's the reason why, all right? Ahsoka is an animated character from a prequel era show, not from the prequel films, from the prequel era, all right? And Star Wars is a film franchise. I want everybody to understand and appreciate what I'm saying. Star Wars is a film franchise that started in theaters back in 1977. And if there's going to be any saving of Star Wars, it needs to take place in theaters. Because look, Star Wars was ruined in theaters with The Last Jedi, and Star Wars will then be reborn, and it will be in theaters. It won't be on Disney Plus, all right? You saw what The Mandalorian did, okay? They're going to have to get this thing in theaters. They're going to have to make a good film. Listen, here's what Star Wars needs in order to be saved. It's not going to be saved without a theatrical movie that has great storytelling, compelling characters, that captures the original vision of George Lucas. Bingo. All right. Quote me, write that down. That's what's going to save Star Wars. All right. Not a Disney Plus show. There's no amount of Disney Plus shows that are ever saved Star Wars. It's a film franchise. And look, this headline kind of low-key hints towards that. Look at this. Ahsoka first episode draws 1.2 million households, right? So it's even with Andor, right? That means it had the same amount as Andor, but it was off from what? Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, why did Obi-Wan Kenobi do so much better than Andor or Ahsoka? Well, it's obvious, right? Obi-Wan Kenobi is a character that's been existing since 1977, all right? This guy's got 45 plus years in the game. There's no way in the world that Andor, and look, Andor was in the film, but he was a minor, not a minor character. He was kind of like a forgotten character. A lot of people were like, why? Who, Andor? Which one is he? You know, he wasn't even the star of that particular show. And on top of that, he dies at the end. So a lot of people were like, well, what's the point of this? You know? And then, like I said, Ahsoka is an animated character from a prequel era show. Okay? Animated show, not a prequel era movie. Okay? So she hasn't been in a film. So how many people know who Ahsoka even is? How many people are like, oh my God, I can't wait till Ahsoka comes out. Ahsoka is a hit among Star Wars fans, kind of like how Andor. Notice they both had the same amount of viewership. Okay, that's because Star Wars fans is going to watch this. But Obi-Wan, and it goes into it in this article. Yeah, here it is. Obi-Wan Kenobi, which dropped on May 27, 2022, pulled in 2.4 million households, okay? So the first episode was down by 50% of that total. Yeah, people know who Obi-Wan Kenobi is. You can pull the random average viewer, you know, oh, Obi-Wan Kenobi, oh, they're doing a Star Wars show about Obi-Wan Kenobi, oh, let's check it out, all right? Because people know that name. People are asking like, oh, what Ahsoka stuff do I need to watch in order to understand this? Do I have to watch all of Rebels? Do I have to watch the Clone Wars? Like, people were asking that kind of stuff. Nobody had to ask that question to understand who Obi-Wan Kenobi is, all right? Because the guy had been in the game so long. And again, he's in theaters. He's in 2 different trilogies, okay? So, yeah, Ahsoka was never going to be the savior of Star Wars. The only thing that's going to save Star Wars is proper writing, okay? In theaters, proper writing, good characters, George Lucas's original vision, capturing all of that in a film. That's what's going to save Star Wars, okay? Not Rebels Season 5, all right? Everybody kept calling it Rebels Season 5. Like, why would you think Rebels Season 5 would save the entire franchise, all right? When, like, the majority of people have no idea what Rebels is. You got to bring in the general audience. You can't just, you know, depend on Star Wars fans that know who Ahsoka is and know what Rebels is. You got to bring in the general audience. Like, Mando did that, okay? And why did The Mandalorian? I want everybody to sit back and use your brains and think, what made The Mandalorian Season 1? Why did it take off? Why did it become popular? Why did everybody talk about it? You know the answer and I know the answer, okay? It had nothing to do with The Mandalorian. It had everything to do with baby fucking Yoda, okay? That's why that show took off. Oh my God, look at baby Yoda. Oh, he's so adorable. I want to pinch his cheeks. It was that dude. That's what brought everybody to the yard, okay? And what's Baby Yoda? Oh, he's a remembrance of a Star Wars character from the original trilogy, okay? That's why Mando took off, all right? That's why Mando Season 2 took off. And then you add some Luke Skywalker to the mix. Look, everybody was fooled. Everybody thought, oh, that saves Star Wars. All right. But it's not going to save Star Wars, all right? You got to get back into theaters, all right? If Mando went straight to theaters after that, there may have been an argument that Mando saved Star Wars, but nothing on Disney Plus will ever save this franchise. And this also will not save Star Wars. Listen to this. Rosario Dawson's portrayal of the Jedi shows that not only are fans eager for more adventures in the Star Wars universe, but they'll gladly watch shows led by female characters. With women serving as 5 of the 6 main characters, this opens a new chapter in the Star Wars saga. Look, this right here, this 5 of the 6 main characters, that's intentional. All right. That was intentionally done. And anytime you do something intentional, it's not organic. It came from a place of, hey, I got to do this. This is ideology, or this is a specific agenda that I'm trying to push. All right. There's no way in the world that you gonna tell me that Dave Filoni was writing this and then just looked down at his paper one day and was like, son of a bitch, I just put 5 of the 6 main characters as women. What do you know? Wow, could have knocked me over with a feather. I didn't try to do it at all. It just happened that way. There's no way in the world you're going to convince me that he did it like that. All right? He put people in this thing because he was following the Kathleen Kennedy ideology, and that's one of the main things that forces female. They're forcing females, and they're trying to push it in, and it's like, look, put female characters in, make it natural, make it organic, make it flow with the story, just like you would do with the male characters, okay? Don't have any respecter of persons. Just put them in. Hey, we're doing females here, males here. We come up with good characters, and we're just putting them in, all right? There's no need to do this intentional bullshit. This is what's messing up all of entertainment, but it's especially what's messing up Star Wars, okay? Ideology. Stop it. Just tell good stories, okay? Ahsoka is a phenomenal character. I love Ahsoka. But you're never gonna get people on board with this stuff when you just start forcing stuff, all right? You just start forcing stuff. Like Sabine, to me, feels like a forced character. If anybody feels like a forced character, it's Sabine. I do not like that character, but I'm not going to get into that right now. But yeah, this is the issue right here, man. They're doing too much. It's this, hey, we got to do this forces female stuff. This is Kathleen Kennedy's agenda. And that's not going to work, okay? You got to tell organic stories, original stories that make sense, that fit George Lucas's original vision. Yeah, and here's the Samba TV information. The latest new Star Wars series, Ahsoka, finally hit screens with 1.2 million U.S. households watching it over its first 6 days. Now, I thought it was 5 days that Samba TV measured, but whatever. This is similar to the viewership of Andor's premiere season and slightly lower than Mando's 3rd season premiere over its first 6 days. So it's lower than Mando. It's right there with Andor. This isn't saving shit. All right, everybody's got to get that through their thick skulls. Okay, I don't mean any disrespect to people out there that, you know, think that somehow Ahsoka was going to save the franchise. There was no chance of that. Ahsoka, here's what you got to do. You got to appeal to the general audience. You got to build a brand new Star Wars fan base that loves it and explodes it. And everybody's all talking about it. Okay. You're never going to do that on streaming. Again, it's a film franchise. It's always been an event film where people show up in droves, dressed to the nines to watch Star Wars. That's what Star Wars has always been. They got to get back to those roots, all right? And you can't get that kind of a feeling from Disney Plus, you know, where everybody's showing up and dressed up and, oh, I got my lightsabers out and I got my robes and all of that stuff, all right? And that's another thing, okay? Because there's a big problem with these Star Wars shows is that they're getting away from the good storytelling, okay? That's the first problem, all right? They're getting away from George Lucas's vision, all right? They're getting away from the mythology of Star Wars. Star Wars has always been about mythology, myth-making, okay? But the second thing is you got to have substance over spectacle. There's a lot of people out there that say, oh man, it's Star Wars. It feels like Star Wars because you got lightsabers and you got cool fights and you got this and you got that. Listen, I'm all for that stuff, all right? But what does George Lucas always say about that? You remember that quote from George Lucas?
Special effects are just a tool, a means of telling a story. People have a tendency to confuse them as an end to themselves. A special effect without a story is a pretty boring thing.
Why do you think people are bored? Why do you think people are bored with this Ahsoka show? All right, because it's all about the spectacle. It's about Sabine flying around on a little speeder bike, all right, and going through these long, drawn-out scenes that absolutely mean nothing. What's the story, all right? Like I said in my review, which I will link above, the only thing that was interesting in this show, all right, as far as I'm concerned, was the stuff the villains were doing, and they were on screen far too short. But they were telling an interesting story that I wanted to get into, okay? I wanted to dig into this story that they were telling about these bad guys. You got this witch, you got this Sith / Jedi, whatever he is, you know, with Balin Skull, his little assistant, and whatever they're doing, trying to get to Thrawn. Hey, I'm interested in that. What's going on here? All of the hullabaloo about Ahsoka and Sabine and Hera and all their little detective work that they've been doing, that stuff is dull, all right? There's no story there. All of that could have been wrapped up in about 25 minutes. And when they're, hey, man, let's get back to the bad guys because that's where the story is at. There was a lot of wasted time. Now, again, I'm not writing Ahsoka off, but this idea that Ahsoka, or it will or will not save Star Wars, let's just get that all out of our minds right now, okay? Listen, the bigger question you got to ask is, even if they did Star Wars right, even if they nailed Star Wars down to the floor and did it exactly the way we wanted, have they lost too many people? All right. In my opinion, I think if they do Star Wars right, you might have already lost some of the old Star Wars fans, but you will invite new people to come in and enjoy the franchise. All right. They will create new fans. That's basically what you're looking to do anyway. You should always look to kind of replenish your fan base, all right? Otherwise, you have this old aging fan base of people that ain't watched your shit in about, what, 30, 40 years. And these are the people that are going to be, so by the time you go to convention, it's just going to be a bunch of people walking around on walkers, okay? Because you haven't invited young, new people to enjoy this stuff, you know? But this number right here, this 1.2 million U.S. households that watched the premiere of Ahsoka, all right, this really just represents like the hardcore Star Wars fans that are going to show up anyway all the time. They're going to always show up. That's why it matched Andor, because those are the same people that, hey, man, let's check it out. It's another Star Wars show, all right? But what it's not doing is it's not growing, okay? You're not growing. That's what we've been talking about with Disney. It's all declining assets. It's all diminishing returns every single time. All right. Every single time out, they're just losing more and more and more people. People are checking out. People are watching other stuff. They're not growing the fan base. And the reason is because they don't know what they're doing. They haven't got back to the theaters. And that's where Star Wars will be saved, in my opinion. Okay. You guys are free to disagree with me if you want to, but go ahead, jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.